Hey Brotatoes, it's Holly from Cape Cod Creatures, and today we will be unboxing, well, I already took it out of the box, but I didn't take it out of the cellophane yet, the English Magic Tarot. This is everybody's favorite $5 deck right now, and it's even less than $5. I actually scored mine for like $4.72 on Amazon.com right now, and I looked again this morning and it's like $4 and a nickel. So if you are a fan of collecting decks, or if you are like, maybe I want to look at it, but it's kind of got some mixed reviews as far as quality, like for $4, you cannot go wrong. So I highly recommend taking a peek at this. And we are going to unbox it, and I actually figured out a filming of a tabletop situation, so we're going to try that with this, and here we go. Okay guys, so this is the English Magic Tarot. As you can see, I haven't even taken it out of the cellophane packaging yet. It's very reflecty. The box is about 1 inch by 6.5 by 8. And like I said, it was only $5. It's got the Fool on the front, which is fantastic. I've heard really good things about the deck, but it's been kind of mixed. A lot of people like the card art. Some people don't like the borders. Some people don't like the quality of the cards. Some people think the cards are just fine. Some people have a couple of damaged cards in their box. Some people don't. But I guess we'll be discovering whether or not I got a good deck together. As you can see, the back of the box goes on to describe exactly what's in, and it's got the price and the ISBN. $24.95 is what you would pay for this anywhere else. So $5 is definitely a good deal right off the bat. So let's get it started. I started a little divot right here. So yeah, let's get this unpackaged. Oh, gotta bust out the old fingernails. All right, so we've got the cellophane off, and it's one of those boxes that's got like the little half moons or half circles taken out of the sides, so the top should slide off relatively easy. And oh, yep, there we go. And the first thing we're greeted with, there's nothing special about the inside of the box. I actually am a fan of when people do put fun little stuff on the inside of their boxes. So that's a little disappointing, but it's not like a deal breaker or anything. And we've got a really nice book. I'm always a big fan of bunnies. The typesetting looks to be relatively, it's reasonable. It's not too small, it's not too large. As you can see, it looks to have interpretations of the cards. You know, the major arcana, the minor arcana. It's got some really good artwork in there. And it looks to me like it gives a little bit about, yep, there's a foreword and an introduction to the deck. So I'll definitely be perusing this. I've got a stack of tarot deck books that, I don't know, it's getting pretty daunting there. So I will eventually make my way through this. I can't promise that I'll make my way through it anytime soon though. But I always I pick and choose, and like I'm going to read with this deck like right away, because that's what we all like to do. Jump in without reading the instructions. But it looks like it comes with a few different spreads. We've got some 2-card spreads. We've got some 3-card spreads. Gives a sample reading. It gives a prism spread, which will be interesting to look at. Oh, and there is the diagram for it. So it looks like there's about 9 cards there, so that will be interesting. Ooh, and it looks like it does reversals too. Like if you can see right there, you've got 2 cards that are reversed. This is called the broadside, so that's kind of cool. And then memory theater, that'll be an interesting section to read. I don't know what memory theater means, at the sake of sounding like a novice, but anywho, here are the cards. They come, it looks like, separated into two little deckies that are wrapped with paper, and it has an insert inside the box. I usually am not a fan of these inserts, but this one isn't too bad. It's kind of made in a way where the decks aren't going to slide into it. It's got like a little foldy, this is one piece of paper. So that's actually very smart, and I like the way that it looks like old parchment. That's kind of cool, like an old scroll or something. So that's pretty fun. And then the little white paper bands, which I'm just gonna do that too. There we go. Just like I would do to a stack of ones in the shop. I would just rip the paper off, and then those will go over in recycling. And the back of the card has some interesting artwork. It's got, you know, these little handy things. So I guess you'd be able to tell, oh, look, there's a little bit of chipping on the edge of that card. Not too big of a deal. And the cardstock does feel really flimsy. But there's a little, you could see, like, you'd be able to tell if there's a reversal due to the colors of the cards, but honestly, unless you're super duper into memorization or something, I doubt that is something you'd really be able to tell. So yeah, these all look fine. We're just going to give a quick check through to make sure that none of them are really, you know, of the poor quality that this deck, that people have been saying this deck has some really, so it's got some quality issues. So none are stuck together so far, always a bonus. I like when I don't have to unstick my cards. And then the second one, we'll give it a little, you know, run through. So I don't have, so far again, none of them, oh, nope, those weren't stuck. Okay, so one of the things that I immediately don't like about this deck is you can kind of feel where the die cut raised the edge of the card, and that is going to, in the long run, cause a little bit of separation at the edge of the paper. So that's a little, I mean, it's a $5 deck. I mean, can you really complain about a $5 deck? I don't know. Like, that's just like I said, it's, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like raised up a little bit, like I said, where the die punched through the cardstock. So yeah. Okay, so it looks like none of those are really in bad condition. I'll count them later to make sure I got all the cards. So it looks like we got a title card. And here is, let's see. Yep, another title card. Let's see. Oh, and this one, and then we go right into the major arcana. This one says, take part in the endless story of the tarot. So that's kind of fun. And apparently it's based on Hermetic tradition and English magic. Very much, you know, Doctor Strange and Mr. Norrell come into mind very much. I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix. It's a story based on English magic. Comes to mind immediately. Oh, some of these are reversed already. That's really weird. Okay, so that's a nitpicky thing right away. Like when I first get a new deck, what I like to do is go through and look at each of the cards, and I hate when they are flipped upside down. So I'm gonna have to turn these back around. I like how the major arcana doesn't have borders, which is awesome, but also apparently it's been kind of a pain in the butt, because if you wanted to trim the rest of the deck, which does have these ridiculously large borders, it keeps you from being able to do that. I mean, like, I suppose you could, but you'd cut off like part of the hat and the rabbit's foot, and that would be kind of sad. But I do like the artwork style so far. It's very like graphic novel-y. I really enjoy, I don't know, it's very like, there's attention to detail here. There's some really cool, I don't know if you can see, but there's some really cool like phrases on the cards, and apparently you can figure them out. Some of them are like backwards writing, some of them are an ogham, some of them are, like I said, the phrases are all just different, so that'll be fun to research. Alright, so, oh, I like that Justice card. That's beautiful. I also like when you see a lady in a suit of armor. You don't see it very often. Very Joan of Arc. The Hanged Man, I almost thought that one was reversed. I always do that, though. I always think that one's reversed. The Death card, which I guess, I mean, like, I don't really see it very representative of death, but especially in this where the artwork, I guess it's not traditional per se, but it's a little more classic. You've got like a huntsman or a woodsman. I don't know. I'll have to think on that. I do love this one. Sticking Temperance, sticking his head in a nice cool drink of water, kind of. I like that. The Devil, that is fantastic and kind of creepy. His head's almost doing a 360. That's kind of weird. The Tower. Oh, the Star. Is that I believe? I don't know. That almost looks like what's his face? Oh, Oh, one of the founding fathers. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. And it's gonna, like, I'm totally pulling a brain fart. Benjamin Franklin. It almost looks like him, and, like, see, that would be, like, the kite and what have you. Like, I know it's not supposed to be him, but the jacket is really pulling that kind of, that's how I'm relating to it. The moon is so far my favorite, but I do enjoy me a bunny. The sun, very cute, very Shakespeare. Judgment, straw man, I like that. That's actually a really good one for judgment, a straw man argument, like it bringing up straw man and burning the straw man and effigies and stuff. That'll be interesting to reflect on. And the world, kind of impish, elfish, couple of feet going on there, so that'll be interesting to reflect on too. So that is the major arcana, which we will leave right there. And then it looks like we've got some wands. Oh, I like the kitty. I am always going to like a kitty. But again, with the reversal, see how big these borders are? That has been people's problems. It's a good, like, a good fifth of the card is caught up in border artwork, which is ridiculous. And then, I don't know, like I said, but it's a $5 deck. Is it worth trying to edge, especially when you're going to have to edge the majors as well? I don't think I'll be doing any edging or anything like that with it. I won't be trimming it. Oh, and the King of Wands. So these are kind of neat, and I won't go through all of them, but I will point out how each of the suits has a different color, which I think is fun, but I also kind of hate sometimes, because I am going to have to color in, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but I am going to have to color in the edges of the cards. Like you can kind of see, like there's some green here, there's some blue, there's some yellow, and there's some red. And especially when you place it next to the majors, you've got some modeling. It's very muddled colors. So again, I hate that cheatery McCheaterson feel where you can kind of see what's going on the edge of the cards. Oh, and there's a little raised edge there. I have a feeling it's going to be like a hang. I call them hangnails, or parts of my deck kind of like they have like little shavings. And then there's another crushed edge already. So these are going to have to be treated delicately. Like I said, the cardstock is really flimsy. It's flimsier than even like Revelations was a pretty easily bendable cardstock. I'd say this is on par with the cardstock from the Chinese fortune teller cards. And I can understand why they did fortune teller cards on that stock. They're the tea leaf fortune teller cards. They did I say Chinese fortune teller cards? I meant tea leaf fortune teller cards. I'm sorry. It's been a very long few days. But there's 200 cards in that deck. So I could see why they would want to do it on thinner cardstock to fit it in a box and make it like easy to work with. But this is just a tarot deck. There's no reason to kind of skimp out on the cardstock, especially when you're going to wind up paying $24. But I think, I don't know, the deck is worth it. It's a $5 deck. Like I said, you can't really complain too much about something that you got for $5, which is a fifth of the price. It's you know, it's 80% off. How can you complain about that, really? So I would say definitely worth it. I will do a reading with it at some point. I'll do a new deck introduction spread. And like, you know, like a introduction. I'll do an introduce yourself kind of spread with the deck. And here's the book again. So we've got the title cards, we've got regular cards, and then here's the top of the box. I've got it upside down. I'm making a ginormous mess. So yeah, I mean, not too bad, I would say, for $5. It'll be interesting to see how it reads. Okay, everyone, so I've decided that the spread we're going to try right out of the bat for the English Magic Tarot is going to be called the Two Ravens Spread, which can be found right in the book. Sorry, I have a hard time with the backwards camera thing still. It's for decision making. You choose, you ask your question, a choice, and then one card is if you went one way, and the other card is if you went the other. And then it gives an example of the reading in the book, which is really fun. But it's very simple, and I'm just going to ask like a very silly question to kind of get a feel for the cards, because the deck is new to me and I don't like to get too down to the nitty-gritty with a deck I don't know yet, especially where I haven't done the interview spread. So here we go. Okay, so I've already shuffled the deck a little bit, but we're going to pick our question, and our question is, should I have French vanilla coffee today, or should I get a latte at the place down at the street, or down the street from me, like the little mom and pop shop? Okay, so I mean, I know it's a very silly question, but it's just like I said, a sample reading. So you shuffle the deck. I'm not going to encourage reversals, because it does give you reverse meanings, but again, new deck right off the bat, I don't like to do reversals immediately. The one exception to that rule was, of course, Revelations, but it's meant to be read in reverse, and this one is too, but I don't find that the imagery is very conducive to it, especially for new coming to the deck. So anywho, okay, so French vanilla coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, or the mom and pop shop down the street for a latte. So if I decide to go to Dunkin' Donuts, Queen of Cups. And if I decide to go to the mom and pop shop down the street, the Sun. And just because I'm new to the deck and there might be some meanings to each of the cards that I don't necessarily understand, we will be looking these up. So I'm referring to their little handy dandy guide. Because I have been told that this is a little bit like its own system. So you definitely want to refer to the guide a little bit anyway when you first jump in. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to the Queen of Cups. All right, so the Queen sits on a cold throne. She looks worn out by life and cold to the marrow. Very lost. She's taken prisoner. Her throne looks more like a torture device than it does a seat, like a place to sit and relax. There's some black smoke rising up out of that chalice, which doesn't necessarily look to me like it would be delicious coffee. And then it says the Queen of Cups invites us to put down the bottle, hold our tongues, and rediscover the compassion in our hearts. So I don't necessarily think that bodes well for donkeys. The New England girl in me is cringing a little bit. Look, I love my donkeys. And the Sun, magnificence, charisma, in a dandy, which he very much is. I love me some old-timey English dandies. He stands in a golden field fringed with sunflowers, and the sun rises behind him. Triumph, the invincible sun. The solar man is a dandy and a peacock, an idler and a fleet. Like, so basically you get the flair and the I don't know, like just the charm and stuff that comes with going to a schmancy coffee store. So I guess maybe if I want to, like, if I'm looking for like the pomp and the circumstance and the performance that comes with getting a latte handmade for you, and just the difference, like the being different of going to a coffee shop that's independently owned and operated, that's what I'm going to get if I go there. And if I go with that, Donkey is like probably not going to wake me up. The coffee's not going to be all that great, and I'm probably not going to be all that happy with it. I mean, she just looks unamused. So that is the reading for that. And I know it was a silly question, but I think it's made up my mind. I'm totally going to go get a latte at that independently owned mom and pop shop. All right, so this has been a unboxing of the English Magic Tarot. Thank you guys for sticking in with me. Here again is the book. Very cute. It's got the moon on it, which is my favorite card in this deck so far from everything that I've seen. And like I said, totally worth the $5, and it's given me some good coffee advice. So you gotta love a deck that gives you good coffee advice. Anywho, thank you so much.